I sat down individually with each of you over the last 2 weeks, and each and every one of you in those conversations expressed your concerns about Hawaii's high cost of living. So, what would you do in Congress to lower it? Representative Takai, we'll start with you for 1 minute.
Thank you very much. We in Hawaii spend $9 billion each year importing $7 billion of foreign fossil fuel and $2 billion in food. I believe the faster we can wean ourselves off of this addiction to foreign fossil fuel, and the faster we can grow more of our own food, the more money we'll have for things like road infrastructure, schools, and our economy. Can you just imagine if we kept $2 billion of that $9 billion in Hawaii, and the amount of economic generation that'll have across our community? I've been a champion of sustainability in the legislature. I'm proud to have the support and the endorsement of the Sierra Club. And going to Congress, I'm going to focus my energies on sustainability and on climate change and our ability to wean ourselves off of that addiction to foreign fossil fuel. Thank you.
Councilmember Manahan.
Well, definitely that's true. Hawaii has one of the highest cost of living rates anywhere in the nation. It's difficult to live here in Hawaii. So what we need are good, livable jobs where a person can work one job and bring home a good paycheck. Having said that, I believe that we can do that. We can stabilize our economy through the modernization of our harbors, our airports, and our military. I believe that's going to create the jobs for us in the near term as well as the long term. But also, in the long term, what we need to do is work on the clean energy infrastructure of the state, where we can really be leaders in terms of geothermal, solar, wind, and wave energy, and developing that infrastructure. Thank you very much.
Ms. Jian, how would you in Congress work to lower the cost of living?
I would do things like reform the Jones Act. Not eliminate entirely, but reform it so that we don't have to pay $10 for a gallon of milk. I would also invest in clean energy to make sure that we transition into solar energy and become a solar leader for the entire world. I would also, most importantly, put people first. In a people-first economy, we must provide affordable housing so that all people can be active members in our viable economy.
Councilman Chang.
It's no secret we have the highest cost of living in the United States right here in Hawaii. The median home price just hit $700,000, and as a young person, I don't know a single first-time home buyer who has $140,000 just lying around for a down payment. The federal role needs to focus on two parts. First, creating new industries to help move our economy forward. And clean energy is a fantastic example. We already have solar, wind, geothermal, access to all the great renewable energy resources in the world. And in fact, we're already leading on that front. I was in Abu Dhabi not too long ago. The Sultan there wanted to create a 100% clean energy city. And for his solar panels, he sourced them from a company right here in Hawaii. That's a great opportunity for us to innovate and to grow our economy and create more good jobs. We also need to focus on affordable housing. We can build more military housing. We can help pay for Honolulu's rail project, which will continue to facilitate the growth of affordable housing here in Hawaii.
Thank you so much. Senator Kim.
Living in paradise is not cheap. Living in the middle of Pacific, there's a lot of costs that we have to pay for that other states do not. So we really have to look at how do we create jobs. And so we need to develop and retain high-tech and green-tech businesses, just grow our clean energy industry, as everyone else has said. But we also need to support small businesses, because small business is the backbone of America. And we need to look at the regulations that have come down on our businesses. And that's what's causing a lot of the cost that's added to the products that they sell. Creating jobs by fixing America, fixing our infrastructure, our bridges, our airports, our harbors, and fixing our schools. Some of our school buildings are 65 years and older. And so by doing that, we'll be able to create jobs. And we need to keep government efficient, and that'll bring down, hopefully, the cost of living.
Councilman Anderson.
It is no secret that the state of Hawaii has amongst the highest cost of living in the country. What I would support is ensuring that the 11 military bases that we have in the state of Hawaii remain open in their current capacity, and that the roughly $20 billion of federal funding annually that Hawaii receives continue to come into our state to preserve the existing jobs that we already have. I would also continue to champion, as I have on the Honolulu City Council, redeveloping our existing product in Waikiki so that we can continue to have visitors coming into our shores, product that is of today and not of yesterday. It's also important that we continue to build up our existing product so that when our tourists come here, we're not offering them a dated product that's been a thing of the past. As a member of Congress, I would also support reestablishing the Kona International Airport as a second point of entry, again to create additional jobs, and considering a discussion to create federal tax credits so that we can build new hotels to complement the existing ones that we already have.
And Senator Sparrow.
First, we need to provide our children and our youth a great education so that they are prepared to enter adulthood when they graduate. Then we need to work to strengthen our economy, both locally and nationally. When you have a strong economy, you have businesses investing, businesses expanding, and you have low unemployment. When you have low unemployment, wages do go up. And this is one way that we could help with the high cost of living. We could also look at food sustainability and help our farmers and provide low-interest loans and maybe even some free state and city land if they do grow certain crops. And on alternative energy, we certainly need to invest in our solar, geothermal, wind, and wave energies so it could help us get off fossil fuels and the billions of dollars that we are exporting each year.
In every community in our islands, it seems that homelessness is getting worse here in Hawaii. How can the federal government help to solve this issue? We're going to begin with Senator Kim for 1 minute.
The homeless problem has been with us for as long as I can remember. And so it's going to require a multi-pronged approach. One of the things that we have also learned is that 1/3 or more of the people that are homeless have mental problems. And so we really need to be able to treat these individuals. Last year in the Senate, we passed Senate Bill 310, and it calls for assisted community treatment programs for severely mentally ill homeless. And this assisted community treatment would be in lieu of the involuntary outpatient treatment. I would also say that the federal government needs to support our local programs. I recall that when I was on the city council, we wanted to build these homeless villages, and we thought it was going to cost us about $14,000, $15,000 a unit. But then we realized when we were going to build it that there were these federal regulations and it had to be ADA compliant, and it raised the cost to $45,000 to $50,000 for a unit. And so we couldn't put those units out there.
Cut you off. I'm so sorry. The time restriction is just 1 minute. We're going to move on to Councilmember Chang.
In our council office, we are now receiving more complaints about homelessness than all other issues combined. And I think this is an issue that really affects both our economy, as we all know the importance of our visitor industry, as well as our sense of compassion. The problem is, in this current environment of gridlock and cutback and shutdown in the Congress, many of the core linchpin programs that have been used to fund housing, like CDBG and Home, have been cut back. Here at the city, we just took the initiative to establish a $47 million Housing First and Compassionate Services program to help bridge that gap. The federal government now needs to do the same and ease some of the burden off our taxpayers. We also need to be focusing on new, fresh, bold ideas like safe zones, like tent cities. Pushing homeless people from one place to another is not going to solve the problem. We need to give them a place to go.
Councilman Manahan.
Thank you. You know, there's no one-size-fits-all for the cause of homelessness here in Hawaii. I support the Housing First initiative that the city is putting forward. I also supported urban rest stops, which are intake centers that have showers and washing machines where people can come in, wash their clothes, and avail of services if they need to. We need federal funding for that. But having said that, I think what we really need to do is work with our interagency on homelessness to be able to separate working homeless versus the chronically homeless who will need services, who are mentally ill and need services. And for the working homeless, I don't think that they should pay more than 30% of their paycheck towards a rent or a mortgage. Also, we need more tax credits to be able to create public-private partnerships similar to what we did with Kuhio Park Terrace. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Senator Sparrow, how can the federal government help the homeless issue in Hawaii?
The number one thing we need to do simply is to build more affordable homes. However, we can also invest dollars into social workers who deal with individuals with mental health issues. We should also invest dollars in drug prevention and drug treatment, since many of our homeless do have drug problems. I would also like to see the federal government provide resources and funding to city and state jurisdictions that have public-private partnerships for affordable rentals. I'd like to see more micro units built in our state, as well as dormitory-style units for individuals who could live this way. And finally, I'd like to see homeowners, investors who take in homeless working families to get tax breaks and tax-free income from the federal government for having a homeless family within their rental unit.
Ms. Yan.
The real face of homelessness isn't the mentally ill, and it isn't mainlanders sent here by other cities. The real face of homelessness are local families. 90% of them are local. Only 25% suffer from a mental illness. The real solutions to homelessness are in affordable housing and housing first. Other forms of solutions do not work, such as what we're looking at here in Honolulu, which is criminalizing the homeless, which will absolutely only end up in burdening taxpayers and traumatizing the extreme poor. On a federal level, what we can do is ensure that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac pay into the National Housing Trust Fund to the tune of about $400 million annually to ensure that low-cost housing is affordable and provided for all of the extreme poor of the nation.
Thank you so much. Representative Takai.
Thank you very much. Homelessness is an issue that we all have to address. We can't pretend that it doesn't exist. It's all around us. There are too many homeless falling through the cracks, and especially too many homeless veterans. As a member of Congress, I'll work hard to increase the amount of federal support going into programs like HUD, Section 8, and Housing First. We also need to provide funding for mental illness services and drug programs. In the Hawaii State Legislature, I supported the creation of the Hawaii Interagency Council on Homeless that brings together state, counties, agencies to build a network of coordinated care to help our homeless members. In 2009, I worked with then Assistant Secretary Tammy Duckworth on 3 proposals to help homeless veterans, but our work is not done yet. We still have 800 more homeless veterans out there in Hawaii, and I'm going to work hard to make sure they are taken care of.
Thank you, Representative Takai. Councilmember Anderson.
Thank you very much. Homelessness is a serious problem here in the state of Hawaii. The federal government can kokua with this effort by providing federal funding for Housing First. The federal government can also kokua by waiving some of their building requirements so that we can build these Housing First units today. The Honolulu City Council has taken the unprecedented step of budgeting more than $45 million for affordable housing, for homelessness. And I led that charge on the Honolulu City Council. What has the state done in actuality to assist with this? In one word, nothing. The state legislature has appropriated $1.5 million to help assist with homelessness. You have 3 state lawmakers up here who are talking to us about homelessness, what they've worked on homelessness, what they think about homelessness. But the state legislature, when they had the chance to act this year, they did nothing. They left the heavy lifting to the Honolulu City Council. We will, however, at the City Council, continue to move forward with the Caldwell administration and move forward with this appropriation. But the federal government really needs to cool with some more money to help the city with that Housing First initiative.
Thank you very much.